This chapter is about body composition and body acceptance, the second part. Different ways that you can assess your health in terms of measurements. One that is commonly used by physicians and in the medical realm is body mass index. It does not measure body fat, and it just does not work well for individuals who are highly muscular or well developed in their musculature. It's more for a risk factor for disease, and it's just a combination of height and weight. The waist measurement is a constant, or is a relatively simple way to assess your risk for chronic disease. One would be diabetes. To measure your waist, you put a tape around your abdomen at the belly button. You draw in your breath, suck in your stomach, measure the waist while you're holding your breath. That will give you an idea about how much abdominal fat you have of omentum fat. This is going to be associated, a high level is associated with type 2 diabetes. Why that body fat goes to the omentum, or that fat area underneath or in your abdomen, is due to a stress hormone called cortisol. It's released when you have low-level anxiety or chronic stress, and that cortisol level is meant to release energy for you to run and hide. But when you have that constant level of anxiety, cortisol does not recognize the cause of the stress, and it is going to increase the free fatty acids from the fat cells, and the omentum is going to take it up, and that's where we get that abdominal fat. And it's a risk associated with heart disease and diabetes. We have other ways of assessing or measuring, estimating body fat, and it can be either measuring the subcutaneous fat in specific locations. It could be seeing whether or not somebody sinks or floats, and utilizing that determining how dense they are, and calculating an estimated percent body fat, or a variety of laboratory techniques. No matter what it is, you need to have skill to do these assessments and also to interpret them. Appetite is controlled by hormones, but we also eat for a variety of reasons. One is appetite. Ghrelin is released from your stomach, and it makes you feel hungry. Leptin is released primarily from fat cells, and when that's released, you feel full. We know that obese individuals tend to be a little less sensitive to or their resistance to the communication of leptin, and so they don't have that sense of fullness. It also takes about 20 minutes for your body for those hormones to come into effect. So that's why we want to eat a little bit more slowly. How our appetite can get out of balance is by not getting enough sleep. Chronic low sleep levels will increase appetite. When we fast for extensive amount of times, we get ghrelin will be increased. We know that which will increase hunger. We know that artificial sweeteners in coffee, Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, diet sodas, low fat or no fat foods, they really stimulate your appetite even though you're eating calories. So limiting those would be another step. And also moving more is going to, exercise is going to help with responsiveness to that leptin, or that satiety hormone. We can look at how much energy we need to be consuming in calories through some simple calculations if you choose to. You can determine what your approximate resting metabolic rate or basal metabolic rate is by using a calculation which is going to consider your age, your sex, your body weight. Once you know that basal metabolic rate, you can factor in an activity factor, and that will give you an estimation of approximately how many daily calories you should be consuming to maintain your body weight. When you track your calories, you can identify how many calories you're consuming and track your weight and determine that that is the approximate amount of calories as well. If you want to lose weight, 500 calories less per day, which could be a snack or one less portion of a food, or substituting an apple, which gives you more fullness, to an applesauce. That can help with that, with decreasing caloric intake. And we also can begin to become more active. And if we increase our physical activity, we know that 30 to 60 minutes per day of moving is what the national standards recommend. And we know that when we incorporate moving and balancing our calories, that we can maintain our body weight throughout life. You can increase your activity by just walking more steps each day. That has a benefit. The 10,000 steps per day there's nothing really magical about that, but that's the amount that has been studied. And I'm going to say that if you normally walk 5,000, if you can get 6,000 in, you're making good progress. So can you use your best thinking to achieve a positive balance in your life? Can we eat sensibly? Can we exercise or move regularly? And briefly want to mention just a little bit about disordered eating. It tends to be associated, it's more prevalent in young women, young people, although males can also have disordered eating. We see higher numbers in athletes, dancers, models, figure skaters, gymnasts, long endurance runners, any weight of wrestlers. They also, because you want to, they have a challenge with being at a low weight to be able to wrestle in a lower weight class. We know that the common disordered eating, the sooner that an individual can address that disorder, the better it is in terms of recovery. When we think about our healthy body weight, we want to consider what we have, where the disharmony is with ourselves and our body, and analyze that and decide what can be enjoyable and fun, and start a process of being active, getting enough sleep, making food choices that feel good, that make you feel good, and be around people that can support you and not judge you. That's really important. There's an activity in the homework about a Dove commercial, identifying how we feel about ourselves and what kind of steps you can take to start to feel more confident in yourself. And I hope that you find that helpful. When you're at the very end of this chapter, what I'd like you to think about is not just losing weight, but to make choices that make you feel good, and choices and move in a way that's fun and enjoyable. And to learn to accept who you are, where you are, and move in a positive thought process about yourself.